What is going on? I am Cole, and welcome back to my channel. It is that time of the month again. Bearded Comic Bro and I have a new cover challenge, so if you want to see what this month's topic is, make sure you stick through that intro.
Better put your word out. Get ready for the nerd out. Better put specs on. Better break necks on. I cut handsome checks for my expansion sets. They call me Obi-Wan. Act like you know me, son. Snapping.
Awesome, and thank you for sticking through that. This month, we're going to do the best of 2022. It is January. It is the start of the year. So we're going to do our favorite covers from the previous year. I know this one is kind of a little bit harder of a task. If you use CLZ, I would highly recommend sorting that by the year. It makes it a little bit easier to find some of these covers. So for those of you who have not been a part of this, the rules are pretty simple. All we ask is that if you want to join us, please show off 10 covers in your collection. So all you have to do is show off 10 covers that fit the topic. You have to own the book and you have to like the cover. One of the big things we try and push here is not necessarily to show comics that have a lot of value or have a great story behind them, just things that you really enjoy. The cover, a lot of us will just buy a book based on the cover alone. So that's kind of what this challenge is all about. Let's show off some of our favorite covers from the year and kind of go from there. Once again, if you do join this challenge, please tag Bearded Comic Bro and I in your post. If you make a post on Instagram, do it there. If you don't make YouTube videos, you can also show off, I think, 10 pictures per post on Instagram. So if you want to take 10 pictures and post it, we'll make sure to share it on Instagram also. So that's how you join. But let's see some of the books that I have for this year. So when I do this, I normally like to start in alphabetical order. This run, I'm going to do a little bit different. So the first 3 books are kind of in their own thing. If you had followed my most anticipated comics video this year, you knew that there was an event that I was pretty stoked for, and I ended up getting every single variant cover for. So I figured for the year of 2022, I had to at least show off some of those books. So the first one I'm going to show off is the Avengers number 53. This is the variant cover for the X-Gwen variants, and this is done from Leonardo Romero. I loved this Kitty Pryde take for Gwen. This was probably one of my favorites, I think, when it came out. It's got kind of a little bit of a Peach Momoko vibe, but kind of a little bit different too. But this was the first one, kind of, when I was thinking about these X-Gwen variants, this was the first one I knew had to be a part of this challenge. And the next book up, and another X-Gwen variant, we've got Black Widow number 15. This is the Kyrie Andrews variant for this. Once again, I just really enjoyed these X-Gwen variants. I know that as my daughter has really taken off to the character of Spider-Gwen, I've tried to grab some stuff to collect in my collection so that when she gets older, maybe these are some things that I'll either pass along to her if she likes them, or just kind of a fun memory in time for what she liked. So this was one of the ones that kind of stuck out to me too. It's got kind of a little bit different of a vibe from the rest of them. And yeah, I don't even really know who this is in comparison to the Marvel characters, but if you know which X-Men this is, let me know in the comments down below. And the final of the X-Gwen variants, we've got the Rogue cover. This is on Hulk number 4, and this is from Nick Bradshaw. This was another one of the ones when I saw it, it just kind of really stood out. There were a ton of great variants for this, and if you had not heard of this X-Gwen variant run, you can go in and check them out. I think there was like a total of like 20 or 30 of them. I don't even know. There were some weeks where you were getting like 7 covers, but this was kind of a fun thing to do. I've never really just gone out and gotten a ton of variants. So when we're talking about the covers of the year, I had to include at least 3 of these, and these would probably be the top 3 of my picks. This next pick is kind of more or less a placeholder for a book that I have that I technically don't have in my collection currently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show off Action Comics 1050. This is the John Jang variant. I really like this cover. Don't get me wrong. This is a great cover. But the cover that I really probably wanted to show up, I'll have over here. I ended up meeting John Jang at Grand Rapids Comic Con, and I had him do a remark on this book. But this book is currently in grading with CBCS, so I can't show it off. But this is kind of the placeholder because it's another variant cover that he did for DC, and they are both very good covers. And there's no disrespect to this cover. I love it. This one just holds a little bit more special of a place in my heart. This next cover is a cover I really didn't even know existed. I think I ended up getting it in a drip auction from my buddy Comic Book Poser in my most recent unboxing video. I actually unboxed it. So this is something that has been only in my collection for a small amount of time. But I had to add some sort of a Batman cover, and this is the one that I picked. This is the Simone DeMaio acetate version of Batman number 125. I just kind of love that there's this acetate cover of all bats on Batman. As I'm looking at it too, I noticed that there are only 2 staples in the side of this book. So in case anyone has that question for the acetate cover, that is the answer to it. But yeah, I kind of really love and dig what's going on with this little cover. You know, it's not necessarily something that's like crazy, but it's just pretty simple, and it's just kind of a cool thing to see, you know, Gotham City in the background and then all the bats making Batman. One of the series I would say has had some of the best covers of 2022 is going to be Harley Quinn. And while some people might not think that this is the best one, I really enjoyed this one. And when it came down to it, this is the first one that I kind of thought about when I thought of it. And this is for the Harley Quinn yearly or anniversary special. And we've got the Art Germ version. This is kind of a swipe on the Batman's Adventure 12. So we've got Harley and Poison Ivy, and we've got Batgirl tied up in the corner and the little stamp. I just really like this book. This was one of those series where I think that this had so many covers, but because this is a $9.99 price tag, I only got one, and this is the one that I grabbed because I just really liked this look. Art Germ is one of those artists that, you know, I usually tend to grab as many of his variants as I can just because I enjoy them, and I know that, you know, if I ever need to sell them in the secondary market, they usually tend to do fairly good. So if you had another one of these Harley Quinn anniversary specials that you thought was better than the Art Germ, let me know down below. This book might be the only A cover that makes the list, and there's kind of a funny story about this. So I've talked about my most anticipated comics. My showrunner of this challenge, Bearded Comic Bro, was on one issue of that show, and the book he brought up was Human Target number 9, and I had to show it off too. I just love this cover. It's pretty simple. It doesn't have a lot, but it's just really represents what goes on in this issue. I just recently read this issue, and it was fantastic. I just love what's going on. I love how the Human Target is kind of just sitting there in the Batman shadow. If you've read this book, you kind of understand what's going on with it. If you haven't, it might be a bit of a spoiler, so I don't really want to go about what's happening, but I just love this cover. I think it really represents what's going on. The Human Target for A covers has been fantastic. I'm pretty sure these are all Greg Smallwood, and he's been just killing all of these covers. Every single one has been fantastic, but this is the one that just really stood out to me and was probably my favorite of the bunch. And the real talk, is it even a cover challenge if I don't show off a Red Room book or a Peach Momoko book? So we've got, this is Red Room Trigger Warning number 1. I think this is like the 1 in 20 variant, maybe the 1 in 15. I don't remember the ratio, but it's one of the ratios. This is done by Peach Momoko. I just love the way that she did this. One of the original Red Room books for issue 1 that she did was one of my favorites too. I have that in a CBCS slab, but I just really like the way that this is. It's really stands out for me. You know, a lot of people may not like her art, but this was one that I really, really, really enjoyed. And Red Room Trigger Warning had a ton of great covers, but this is kind of the one that really, really stood out. And maybe it's because I just recently unboxed this in my most recent unboxing video, but it's one that I've been waiting for. It was hard to get, but I actually ended up getting it. And we're getting towards the end here, folks, so let's see what we've got. We've got She-Hulk number 1. This is the Art Germ variant again. This also is one of those issues where like issue 1 had so many different variants. I think I even had a few other ones. I know that there was an Adam Hughes one that I really liked, and I almost showed off this one, but this was kind of the one. I think that, you know, when I was thinking about this cover, you know, all the covers for this, even the A covers, are fantastic, but this one, you know, it's Art Germ. I really like him and what he does, and I just had to go and show this one off. So if you were reading She-Hulk and you grabbed a different variant cover, I'd love to know which one you got. I'm guessing a lot of people really love that Adam Hughes one. And we are off to the final cover of the 2022 cover challenge, and we're going to go with Star Wars Revelations number 1. This is Peach Momoko again. I love Peach Momoko's work. This is one of those books, I'm definitely not even reading this, but I had to grab this because this is a little bit different than some of her other stuff. A lot of the times there are not very much background stuff. Even though the background is very minimal in here, I did just get it because there's more of a scene in this one than there are in a lot of other ones. I think this is Dr. Aphra on the cover too, so I just kind of got it in case of, some sort of a spike in this book. I know that these number ones normally have some, first appearances, and I just love this cover, and she is one of my favorite cover artists, so I had to give it a try. So as I'm showing off these covers and I'm looking at them, one of the things I really noticed is that a lot of the covers that I have came out more towards the end of the year, and I'm not sure if that's just these covers are fresh on my mind, so they stick a little bit more, or if it has to do with just what came out towards the end of the year. I know that I've talked about how I use a Google Sheet to track my reading. Some of the times if there's a cover that comes out, I note it in those descriptions just so I have it. One of the ones that I noted was a few issues of Harley Quinn, and while some of the early ones I really, really, really liked, this is just kind of one of those ones where I replaced it with something that came out a little bit later just because I knew that one I really, really liked, and I kind of picked out the one that I said cover of the year ? Compared them to each other, and that one really stood out for me, at least. So if you think I'm wrong, if you think there are better covers out there, please join in on this challenge. Let us know. I've probably already got the playlist down below. Bearded's video is probably also in that, so make sure you watch his and you watch some of the other ones that come out from the other community members. One of the things we really love about this is just seeing a ton of different people put out a ton of different covers that fit this challenge, and just kind of join us as a community. We would love to see what you have to offer, so please do so and please join us. One of the things we don't necessarily do is we don't really tag people in these or call people out because we really just want you to enjoy it. I know that getting some of these covers can be kind of cumbersome depending on how your collection is sorted and how everything is, and that's one of the reasons why we don't really want to force other people to join us, but we would love to have you. So once again, this has been the Bearded and Cole's cover challenge for 2022 best covers. We'd love to see what you have. If you join us, please make sure you tag us. And as always, I've been Cole, and peace.
Better put the word out. Get ready for the nerd out. Better put specs on. Better break necks, son. I cut handsome checks for my expansion sets. They call me Obi-Wan. Act like you know me, son. Snap